Welcome to another video of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. This is called Essentials KE, and today I'll be showing you how to create a progress bar using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now I have my VS Code open and I created a folder named progress bar, and now I'm going to create a new file, then call it progress.html. Then inside my VS Code, I'm going to type HTML. Then this is going to generate an HTML boilerplate. Then in this HTML code, we have some codes that we do not need them, and so I'm going to delete these commented codes. And inside my body, I'm going to have an h1, or you can give it an h2, and I'm going to name this this is a progress bar. Right, then open my my browser. So I'm going to right click in my VS Code, then navigate down here and say open with web server. So this opens in Chrome. As you can see, my h1, as this is a progress bar, so that means that everything is set. Now let us proceed with writing our HTML code. So I'm going to say div, and this div with an ID of, this div is going to take an ID of, let's say, progress, then close the div, and inside this div I'm going to have another div that takes an ID of, you can say ID of I can say ID of bar. Let's say bar. Alright, and then close the div that way. Then again another div inside this div is another div, so I say div with an ID of, you can say label, that way. Then close the div. Then the div I'm going to say label, so I say label. Right, then not label, I'm going to give it the initial label, that is 10%. I want to start at 10%, so let us reload this. You can see I have my 10% here. I can zoom this so that you guys can see well. So my h1, this is a progress bar, and my 10%, so my initial percentage of the progress bar. Then I'm going to create a button outside this. So outside the div, I'm going to break. So outside this div, I'm going to say break, so a break tag, and then create a button. So I say button. I'm going to create a button with the on-click function, button on-click, and the function is move. So this is the function. Then I'm going to close the button that way. Then I say click here, right, that way. Let us reload in the browser and see. You can see we have our button that says click here, but it's doing nothing because we haven't implemented JavaScript. Now we move on to JavaScript. Inside the script tag, let us delete this because we don't need that. So inside the script tag, I'm going to say to declare variable, say let element, you can say element equal document dot get element by ID, and the ID is bar, right? Then after that, I'm also going to declare another variable, let width equal to 10, right? Then create an if statement, and I say if, not that way. I have to create another variable called ID, and this is equal to set time, set interval, this is a function that takes the frame and our 10 as arguments. Then I say function, frame, right? And now I want this function to render if. Now this code will be executed. Say width is greater than or equal to 10, not 10 but 100. So this is going to happen. I say clear interval with ID. Alright, and now let's proceed to else. So I come here and say else we want this to happen. So we want the width to increase, right? And element dot style dot width is equal to width, then we concatenate with the percent sign, that way, and we say document dot get element by ID, and now this time our ID is the label. Then we say dot inner HTML equal to width, then this is multiplied by 1, then we are adding the percent sign, but this is a string because this is concatenation in JavaScript. Now let us reload in the browser. As you can see, it is just increasing from 10 to 100. So it is adding 1 to 10. So it moves to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, up to 100. It's just adding 1, right? Now let us move to CSS and do some styling to our progress bar. So immediately after the head tag, inside here, we're going to write style, then close the tags, then we start with our ID progress. So progress that way, and we're going to give this position relative, the next one is width, and the width is 100%, right? And height you can say 30 pixels. Then background color you can say, let's say hashtag 481cc, something like that. Okay, let's add 4, yeah, that one. That will be the color now. Okay, let's continue. Now next is our bar. It was an ID, not a class. We give it position is absolute. Next one is width 10%, so the width can say 10%. Next one is height 100%. Height 100%. Okay, and the next one is the background color. And this one should be hashtag 481cc4. Okay, let us change this to, you can say hashtag DDD, that way. Okay, now let's proceed to the label. It was an ID. Now we are done with the ID progress bar. Now I'm moving to the last one, which is the label. So here we say ID label, and this is a text align center. Next one is the line height. The line height is 30 pixels. Okay, then color, we want the color to be white. The color is white. Alright, I think CSS is done. Now let us reload our browser. You can see it is loading, but when we click, nothing is happening. Maybe we messed up with some functionalities. Right, now let us see where's the problem. Let me see the function, the script tag. I think we were supposed to start with the function here that says function frame. Okay, not frame but move, function move, that way. Okay, then we have to close this down here. This way. Okay, now let us save this and reload. Now you can see when we click, we are moving from 10% and adding 1 up to 100%. So our button is working well. Our bar, you can see it's progressing from 10%. When we try to reload our browser, you can see we set this to initial as 10%. This is what we did here. As width 10, not that one, but here the label to start from 10%. That one. So it seems everything is working fine. This is called Essentials KE. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.